Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Leopard, King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. It is October 2nd, 2022. That's 10022022. I kept trying to do things for the math geeks earlier. There's nothing I can do with those numbers on that date. I apologize. Now, usually I say, joining me as always, Buddy Thayer. Then I say, and also joining me is Joey Paranormal. But Joey Paranormal is getting married. We could do a whole show on that, but I digress. They're still at a bachelor party. Yeah. They took days off, and there's gonna be a big HR meeting on Tuesday at 11:30. I can tell you that much right now. I can tell you that much right now. Like, not happy with them. We'll see. We'll see what's happening. Buddy might get docked. He might get docked some pay. I don't know. Uh, However, we have with us our guest. Now, Buddy usually does his beer of the week. I'm drinking leftover Trulies and a cigar. So, yeah, that's my beer of the week. Now, Buddy usually does the introductions because I'm not a good person at introductions, and Buddy's even worse, and I enjoy watching him stumble over words. But let me try this one. Joining us is our guest, Daniel Jackson, spiritual medium, author, and host of Beyond the Veil. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you? And I guess the other two guys are here in spirit.
No, you know what? No, they're not even.
Okay,
Like, in
for them.
spirit, they're definitely doing what they're doing.
Right, right. Hope they're spirited while they're doing what they're doing.
I hope they are too. And Sarah, don't worry about it. I've never heard of anybody getting lit up by a truly in a cigar. Haven't read about it yet. I'm gonna
Wh-
stick with that.
What is a truly?
Oh, to avoid using the term like girly drink, which I just did, my wife likes these. They're just hard seltzers with different fruit flavors. They're like about
Gotcha.
5% alcohol.
Oh,
And,
gotcha. Still
and, and,
alcohol.
and Dan, to me, the juice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
juice. So I just drink one or two, and it's just like drinking juice. Buddy usually
Uh,
drinks these big ass beers that are like 400% alcohol. I'm not even kidding.
okay.
Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Buddy? Have you met Buddy before?
No, I have not.
All right, so I'm 6 feet 175, right? Buddy's 6'4.5", maybe 250. He monsters over me. He makes me look like if you see me standing near him, you would think I was 5'4". He's
Right.
gigantic, monster of a man. So, all right,
Is he
Dan.
filled out or is he fat as, fat
He
AF?
was no, Buddy's heavy, but Buddy's been working out, cross training ever since he had problems with his pancreatitis, and he's lost a
Oh,
lot of weight.
yeah.
He's just a big man, big hands,
Yeah.
big dude. So I gotta ask
Handsome?
one: Is Buddy handsome?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Well,
Okay.
I don't know
You're
what other
handsome.
people think. I think Buddy's definitely handsome. It says he's a big giant teddy bear, says Sarah.
Somebody else just said,
Yeah. So Danny, here's my question though. Reading your bio, um, it said that you bloomed. This is what stuck out at me. You bloomed at 50.
yeah.
Dan, as someone that's nearing that age, nothing blooms. I haven't had anything bloom. I feel like everything's in that starting to wither stage. So
Right.
tell me how something blooms at the age of 50. Because quite honestly, the only thing that I can think of that happens to people that I know at age 50 is this weird midlife crisis of the kids are out of the house. Now I got to get to re-know the person I live with. Do you
Right.
know what I'm trying to say? That's the only crisis that I know of,
Right.
or that can happen at this age. Not to me, but I've seen it. So I ask you, how did it bloom at 50?
Well, I had been seeing spirit ever since I was a child, since the age of 3 years old. And I saw them on a regular basis. So I wasn't I wasn't all that scared by them. I did have a couple of instances while I was in my 20s. There was a time I came home from a gig. I was playing drums in a band, and I laid down in bed, and something laid down next to me 3, 4 times. I could feel the pillow squish down, and then I rolled over to see what was there, and whatever was there picked up the blanket that I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling, and it shook it above me, and then it dropped it on top of me, and then after that, Mike, I slept on the couch downstairs for 2 years. So,
Wait, time out. You're in a
yeah.
band. What city are you located in?
When I was there, that was in Delaware, Lower Delaware. If you ever heard of like Dover, Delaware, I was near there by the Dover Air Force Base.
What kind of band?
What kind of band? I played in that time was a band called Masquerade, and we were an 80s band, so 80s hard rock. So I had big hair, I had zebra stripe spandex, that type of thing. I thought I looked cool, but meh. But yeah, and I was playing 80s rock music.
Nice. The
Doc
drummer
and
in our band, then I was in, he came from a Motley Crue cover band that toured.
yeah, I was the same type of drummer like Tommy Lee. I would twirl my sticks.
That's what Mike Lopes did.
Yeah, I did more of the Tommy Aldridge type thing from Whitesnake and Ozzy and twirl my sticks, but I was really flashy with my drum fills, and I played a lot of double bass and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's what Mike. So that's what Mike did, but he used to have to actually moon the audience as part of the whole Motley Crue because they dressed up as
right,
Motley
yeah,
Crue.
I don't have an ass to moon. I have that disease, no ass at all. So I don't. Why would I show them something
So
I
that
don't have?
you're my favorite type of drummer. It doesn't matter about your ass. So we really care at this point. Who really cares? Like at this point, at this age, who cares about our asses other than us and a doctor?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I can't even get my wife to look at it that much. So
um. So no, seriously though. But when Mike joined the group and he brought that theatrics with him, those are my
that's what
favorite
it
type of
is.
drummers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Can't stick up, the stick up, come down, bang, flip, spin this one, bang, 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 the double kick. Oh, my favorite, my
I
favorite.
got fired. I got fired from another band for doing that because they were a top 40 rock band, and they said that I was bringing all the attention towards me. But I was just trying to bring attention to the show. When I joined the band, they had more people coming to the shows, but they were coming to watch me. But whatever, at least they're coming and showing up, and so we started getting paid more. But they fired me because of that. But yeah, I got it.
Listen, I was one of the singers in the band. Yeah, and then I don't know if you remember they used to do the Phoenix in all the different cities, Boston, Phoenix, Providence, Phoenix. They would do like best local, best whatever signed
Sure.
acts. And I even got best vocalist one year with late in the early 2000s. But I always had a show new enough to not stand in front of him when he was doing his thing. Like we were in such
Sure.
awe of how he played that we would stand aside. I always would stand and kneel and watch him play sometimes in solos. 'Cause
Sure.
come on, people are there to watch that. If you can play the drums like that, who am I to say, put the attention on me? Like attention goes wherever we need it.
The bass player named Bob. He was a real, yeah,
Mhm.
guy. So he didn't like it. The other guys in the band were fine with it, but this guy, it was his band, so yeah, he didn't like it too much.
So then
That's
you
cool.
kind of get the crossover that I have with the whole band scene, paranormal scene.
Yeah,
You get that. You
yeah,
get kind of that crossover. So you get there's certain people that are somewhat the same. There is definitely a
oh,
crossover
yeah,
link.
yeah, yeah. But
So
yeah,
good.
it just those types of things kept happening over and over and again. So I got used to it after a while. I would go to bed and I'd see somebody looking into my room and that type of thing. And when I
Sober?
saw yes, completely sober. I don't drink. I quit drinking 15 years ago, but
No, but I mean
yeah,
at that age, at 20.
yeah, even that age, I wasn't a big drinker, and I was especially when I was be out playing in the band. I got drunk one time playing in the band, and I never did it again because it affected my performance so much. And I apologize to the guys in the band, but yeah, I mean, I come home 5 o'clock in the morning, or there was one time when I was with my girlfriend. We were watching TV, and this big thing about 4 feet long, about maybe 2 feet thick, white, kind of unusual looking, snaked its way out of the closet across the room, and then it disappeared. And then she turned around, and looked at me, and said, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, let's get the heck out of here." I mean, it just progressed more and more and more,
Oh,
and
so
I would see these things frequently through my 20s, 30s, 40s.
But why? In other words, let me ask you this: like, so you see stuff like that throughout your
Yeah.
whole
Well,
life.
that's the way that I used to see it. I don't see it like that anymore.
All right, but you saw it like that even growing up.
Yeah.
I see nothing now. That might be because I
Although
don't want to see anything.
not
So I ask
everybody's meant
you,
to.
do you want to see stuff?
Um, well, I would say right now at this moment I don't have a choice, but everyone does have a choice. Like what happened to me at 50, I eventually I started seeing things on a larger scale. My wife went away for 2 weeks on vacation, and for those 2 weeks, I saw everything imaginable you could think of in a scary movie was happening in my house. I saw 7 foot skeletons walking around the house. I saw green and red mist pouring out of the walls, and these little skulls would pour out with red eyes and fangs. Saw the famed Hat Man appear in my basement. But I see him on a regular basis, and I actually know why he's actually here. He's not for here what people think he is, because people tend to beef up the stories. But and he talks
What
to
do
me.
you
But
mean here? Here? You mean here? Here where?
on this plane of existence, this realm.
No, all right. So he's not. I thought you meant in your house.
Well, I saw him in my house, but yeah, but
So
here,
there's a man with a hat that's been seen in other houses too.
yes, he comes through. He When I saw him, I was downstairs in the basement during this 2 weeks, and that was the first thing I saw the very first night when she was gone. And my cat was downstairs, and I went to get him. I said, "Come on, buddy, it's time to go upstairs." And he looked at me, and then he looked to his right hand side. I looked to my left, and when I did, I saw a wall of blackness appear in the middle of the floor. And then I saw a man walk out of it, and he had a wide black rim hat. I mean, he was completely black, had a long black coat. I couldn't see his face, but I could see his facial features. And then he walked across the floor. But the strange part was, I mean, not that that wasn't strange enough, but the strange part for me was when he walked across the floor in perfect stride, he didn't have any feet. And he just went across the room, and then he went through the wall. But for me, seeing things my entire life, I wasn't freaked out. I just kind of watched him go by and watched and followed him with my eyes, and I was thinking to myself, that's kind of strange. And then he, boom, disappeared. And when I turned back around to look at my cat, that wall of blackness just closed up. And then I got my cat and said, "Come on, let's go upstairs. Let's get out of here." But yeah, I mean, here into this realm, that's where he comes into. But he's actually coming from another dimension.
All right. Can you hear me right now?
I can.
All right. Good. Um. So all right now, I have asked this question because see, the thing is, uh, I had twins in '03, so I always say this: I missed all the ghost hunting shows, like completely missed all of it to the
You didn't
point
miss
where,
much.
well, yeah, but you know what I mean, like where everybody started talking about it. So picture me like about a year, 2 years ago, we started doing this show on Sundays. We do sports shows and other shows during the week. I started doing this. Now I'm like about 2 years into it. So I've been to events. I've listened to so many really great speakers and people explain things. And but I have to ask questions because I explain that I speak for the dumb. Like I
Good. Well,
represent
that's
the
okay. I
dumb.
want you to ask questions because I'll tell you, most of the paranormal hunters get it all wrong,
Okay.
completely wrong.
Wrong in the sense of the fact that they're hunting where they should not be hunting because there's really nothing to hunt.
Well, a lot of them should be hunting because they just go into your house. They want to gather some information so they can put it on their website, but they don't help the people who have these events going on in their home. That's wrong.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with
Or they
that.
just don't know what they're doing. They don't know why the spirit are there. They don't even know why they're spirit, and they don't even know what realm they're actually in either. They don't
Meaning
understand
this,
them. They have no respect for them. Yeah.
that I agree with. If there's one thing I noticed is that it's more like Lollapalooza than it ever is like a ghost event. If that
Yeah,
makes
they
sense.
even try to ward themselves off of these negative energies, but they do it the wrong way. They use crosses and holy water, and crosses doesn't work. Crosses are a form of punishment. So why are you going to get rid of something negative with a form of punishment? You can't.
See, all right.
Then
So
they also use the smudging where they burn that stuff and let's get rid of the negative energies. You're trying to get rid of an energy that doesn't exist here in this realm within a body. So it doesn't have a body, it doesn't breathe, it doesn't sleep, it doesn't eat, it doesn't have lungs, and it can't smell. So the only thing you're doing at that moment is setting off your fire alarms. You're not making them go away. You can't make them go away by burning something. I mean, if that was the truth, then don't you think all the forest fires in the world would make all the negative energies go away? But it doesn't, because it's a lie.
Well,
It's
unless
a,
you bless, you have to bless the
it's
forest fires.
yeah, it's
You have to
people in
bless
this
them.
world who want to sell you something. That's all.
Yeah. So, all right. All right. So let's start at the beginning of this. It seems like it's all very deeply rooted in the belief of God, in almost like a Catholic sense. Am I right?
Yes and no, because it comes from the Bible and religion stuff like that. But religion and Bible were both made up. God and Jesus have nothing to do with the Bible. It's just religion indoctrinated them into their ideology so they could have control and power over people.
Okay. So
I
we're
believe
saying
in
this.
God. I believe in Jesus, but about other stuff is garbage. The Bible, garbage.
All right. So, but okay. All right. I get confused because to believe in God, to believe in Jesus, is two different people. No.
Yeah, well, God is not neither he or she. God just is. He just
Hmm.
is where he's at. He's the
But
Father of
Jesus was a
everyone.
carpenter.
Jesus was just another man, just like you and me. And Jesus was not the only divine spirit. We are all divine souls, but religion doesn't want you to tell you that because this is how they have control and power over you. Because
I
they want to
understand.
tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live it and give them 10%. How did they know about 10% back then, Mike? Because the people who wrote those books were kings and queens. That's how.
Plus 10 is the number that everything is always rounded to. 10 is the official number. 10 is the number that makes people think it's important.
Yeah.
Uh, and I do believe that they
Not 9,
brainwashed.
but 10.
No, 10. It's going to be flat. It's gonna be, if someone
Yeah.
said 9, you'd be like, no. 10? No,
Oh,
that's
I
official.
can't figure that out, but you can figure out 10.
Yeah, it's official. All right.
Special.
So here's what I've been
Good
learning.
times.
I've talked to a couple people. We had a gentleman on a couple weeks ago. He does Ghost Hunters International.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to forget his name. Barry. I'm going to say Fitzgerald. That's my best guess on that. I apologize, Barry. But was part of a dig recently that was similar to the Skywalker Ranch dig. Now,
Okay.
I don't know how much the Skywalker Ranch dig is the Netflix special like blew that up. I don't know. Like, I don't know how what's when Netflix shows something, I don't know what's Netflix and what's really happening. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there is actually a lot going on there, but the real big stuff they're not going to tell you about because that's national security in their minds, and they can't tell you about that stuff.
All right. So what Barry let slip was that he did a dig and saw something that he said changed his whole paradigm uh, on how he saw everything. Right. So I always push this negative positive thing. That's of my belief that like if something seriously negative happens, something seriously positive happens, like it's kind of like it has to balance in a
You're
weird
correct.
messed up way.
You're
So
correct.
I don't know if I'm correct, but this is what I
You're
say.
correct.
You know what I mean?
I
So
see when I see spirit, I see positive energy because that's what they are, and I also see negative energy because that's what they are.
yeah, I tried to explain to somebody one time. I'm like, I'm nuanced. Like I'm not a good guy or a bad guy, but I can't. I can be both, like, depending on the situation. So
Depending upon your choice.
yeah, it's we're
You
all.
yeah.
So, anyways, Barry. So what he saw down there scared him. And then we started talking about what was it really did. Like, and we started talking about the Skinwalker Ranch. And I asked him a question at one point, and I said to him, what was below the hole that you just recently came from that changed your paradigm? I said, um, uh, was it serpentine in nature?
Right.
And
Was it the lizard ones or something like that?
he said yes.
Yeah, I see them too, but I see them in spirit.
But no,
I,
he's
I,
talking about a snake, like a big ass. He believed like
yeah.
he was implying there's a big ass reptile below
Yes.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
They could sense it. Same
He's
thing at
correct.
this hole, and what he saw terrified him because he doesn't. It changed how everything is. So does that
Right,
mean that
because
there's like a whole world down there, a
yeah,
whole
seeing
opposite world?
something that you're not used to because the world here wants to hide it from you. They don't want you to to be let on to knowing what is actually going on. That's why I don't watch football, Mike, because this is a distraction from what's actually going on in the world. If you knew what was actually going on in the world, nobody would watch football.
Well, that's not true. Because if you
Well,
did know, if you did know what's going on in the world, which I do know a lot of what's going on in the world,
well, we
you
need to
might
coexist.
take an hour, or a couple hours every Sunday to not think about everything in the world.
Yeah,
And,
you
and
would
just
do anything else, but I mean, when you know what's actually going on in the world and what your life could be or should be, you might take a different approach. But you still want to relax. But
you can't
if you
get
knew the things that go on in this world, I'm telling you, you
Dan.
you wouldn't be able to relax.
You know what? I want to hear about these things because here's what I want to tell you. You cannot get people like there's not enough evidence for someone to go, "Oh yeah, I believe that." Like you could show them an alien shaking your hand, they'd be like, "Ah, he faked that." So,
Yes.
what's going to terrify me that would terrify anybody else in this world right now and that we should be terrified about?
um, that some of the other beings that they don't visit this place. They live here already. As opposed to like when people talk about Area 51, and they say about all the spaceships that are there, but they don't really say about how the spaceships got there. They say maybe one or two, but they have a whole bunch of them there. But some of the insiders let out that those spaceships had been here for a long time. They were actually found during a dig, and they were still working. They were still in working form. So if it was still working form, that means whatever the energy supply is on that ship had been there for thousands of years underground, and then they dug it up and found it. What kind of energy source is that? And that's a really good energy source. We could use that for the world, but why don't they put it out there? Well, because like anything else in this world, there's no money in a cure. They make
Oh
money
no.
off of things, So yeah, why share it? Why don't they share it? Because people are just people. It's not. There's no devil. There's no such thing as a devil, but there are evil people, and they choose to be that way, and that's why we have the things we have going on in this world.
All right. So wait a minute.
But the distractions take us away from that.
Evil people or evil
Yeah, well, yeah,
beings?
well, because we know there are lots of evil people. I mean, anybody who's got some type of intelligence in their mind or within themselves right now knows that our president's a piece of crap, but they don't do anything about it. I mean, we know it. We see it every day, and we still do nothing. And this goes back to religion and the Bible, and today's understanding of who we are. We get called a certain thing and we accept it. Back in the days of religion and still today, they call you the flock. What are they calling you? They're calling you sheep. And then now today we get called the herd mentality. They call you cattle. So in other words, the people who are in control and power of this world treat us as though we are animals. We are below everything else, and we put up with it. We say,
But
"Oh, okay, I guess." We talk about it. Oh, they call this the herd mentality, but
but
you're not
isn't
doing
that
anything about it.
but isn't
Why
that
aren't
every,
you?
isn't that every president?
It's
Like
government. It does. Yeah,
the,
it doesn't have anything
it
to do with the
doesn't
president.
matter
It's
who's
government.
there, does it?
It belongs. It has to do with us as people relinquishing the power a long time ago
Yep.
to those who do have control over us,
Yep.
letting them control us. We called them kings and queens. Now we call them government.
Yep.
They're
It's
they're garbage, and we let them do it every single day. We talk about it all the time. We say, "Oh well, they just voted themselves raises. They got these contracts that they're doing behind closed doors, that they're making millions of dollars off of because they have a job that pays $100,000 a year. They get free insurance. They get free everything. They don't know what it's like to be us because they're not literally living in the world. But yet, what it all comes down to is, oh well, we'll vote them out. You can't vote them out because no matter what, who you vote in, no matter who wins, we all lose. We still do. We still continue to do it. If no one's ever noticed that the party system does not work, it's the left wing and the right wing who belong to the same bird. They are shaking each other's hands, but on camera they hate each other. But behind closed doors they love each other because they're still in power, and we're walking around going, "Oh, I hate this guy and I hate this guy." But what are we not doing? We're not doing anything about it, and that's the
so
problem.
all right. So, but here's the thing. So, they've used social. If we're gonna go this way, they've used social media to completely
Yeah.
separate us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on a cycle of where it's guns, then it would be like racial, and then it's like they'll throw it back to like a war,
Yeah.
or back to the cops. A cop gets killed, or somebody gets shot, or
Right. It's all misdirection.
and we're it's jingling keys.
Yeah.
It's a classic,
And we
It,
fall for it.
we always fall for it, and
Yeah.
we want that. We would rather be sued. Listen, you bring up Jeffrey Epstein and Giselle to anybody, and you say to them, why don't they talk about the people that were on the flight list? And it's almost like people get headaches. They kind of go like, "Mm-mm," and they don't want to talk about it, and it
Right.
just gets passed on to the next topic.
Right.
I actually think we're like programmed to not even want to talk about stuff
Right.
somehow,
Well,
subliminally.
we are programmed for everything that they want us to do, and we do it. And then when something starts to die down, like we had that problem maybe a year ago with that one pipeline, and the president says, "Oh well, there was a pipeline, there was an issue, and there was a leak, so he had to shut it down." No, he shut it down on purpose.
Hmm.
He shut it down so he could raise gas prices up to get us used to paying high gas prices. And then recently, the gas price up here or here in Arizona went up to $4.99 a gallon, but then it went back down a little bit. It went down a little bit, but it's still up $2 than what we were paying, just 2 years ago, so 3 years ago. So
And it
yeah,
went down the wrong way, by the way. It went down by
right,
him just decreasing the price, making it worth less, and us owe more because we didn't
yeah,
actually
yeah,
add
absolutely,
fuel.
and yeah, and then now we're about to go into a food crisis type thing. And what else are they trying to do right now? They're trying to push us into not eating real meat anymore. They want us to do this processed meat that's fake meat. And oh, what else they doing? They're trying to tell us to they're going to have laws that come out that you're no longer allowed to have a oil burning or a gas running car. They want to do all electricity, even though they don't have the infrastructure for it, but they want us to do
Give
it.
me a break with electric cars. Like LA has more brownouts and blackouts than they can handle. They can
Right,
barely
and
keep the
then
lights on.
you can't even charge your electric car.
Well, that's
So
my point. If they all have
yeah,
electric cars, then there's no electricity.
right.
You know, if everybody goes to electric cars, I'm gonna solar panel my dog.
Yeah,
Like,
we could have electric cars now a long time ago, but they destroyed his life. Nikola Tesla, because he wanted to put out free electricity. Why? Because they still wanted to continue to make money off of that stuff, so they got rid of him, and now here we are. But they
it's
caused these problems, but they know they're causing these problems because they get us. What are they turning us into, Mike? They're turning us into drug addicts. We're dependent on them for everything. We don't have to be, but we choose to be. We choose to let it happen.
so all right, but then there's two choices. You either figure out a way to organize and make a real difference, or
Right.
you go hide in the woods. Like,
Right.
I'm one of those two people. Literally, for example, um, every year at our local outdoor basketball court, they would play the summer league for the kids. Now, this dated all the way back to when like Ernie DiGregorio, who was the rookie of the year of the NBA one year, and like some of the Celtics, like Robert Parrish and Bird, would come down and play on these. It was like a really sacred area in North Providence, Rhode Island, right
Sure.
near Boston. They decided they weren't going to have the summer league. I was like, this is how I am. I was like, went to the mayor, said I'm going to run it, went got insurance, made up the divisions, set up signups, ran the league. Like in other words, when I get into something, I just do it because it's got to get done. And if people don't see 2 steps ahead, then you're never going to get it done.
Right.
So coming into this, how would you organize people to make any bit of difference, Daniel? How? Where would
We
you be
could.
able to stand? How high of a hill would you have to stand on so that people hear you?
You got to be on the highest hill. There was another guy who tried to do what I'm doing to get people to get back to where we need to be, and they put him on a cross and murdered him in front of everybody. They call him Jesus. And that's what happens to you. If they don't like what you're doing because you're taking away from them, just like religion and these kings saw that Jesus was taking away he was taking away their money, their taxes, their power. What do? They immortalize you in a certain way where they take away your life. They destroy you because this is what we do here in the United States. We are conquerors. That's why we keep sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine to help them fight a war. But why would they send billions of dollars over? Because it's money. Because it's money that they're going to get back by owning a part of that pipeline over there. So this is why they do everything, because it's power and control for them. And why do they do it? Because we allow them to do it.
All right.
Yeah, you got to stand on a hill that's high enough that everyone hear. But as we know, as in recent times with Facebook, they are censoring people. You get put in Facebook jail. YouTube, they take away your people, and they take away your money that you're making on there because they don't want the truth coming out. They don't like the real, actual truth coming out. They know what it is. They see it right away, and then they squash it. So this is a difficult platform for us to be on. So now we do this with podcasting, but they're starting to censor that as well. So
here's the thing:
there's got to be a hill that we can stand on.
I demonetized this channel a while ago after I weighed what the options were.
Yeah.
I've done over 400 hours of podcasting between all the different shows, and I still would rather be demonetized. Because then they don't slap me with the smallest of infractions.
Right, and that's how they do it. Yeah.
They're not looking for the small things. So,
yeah,
and I'm gonna because it's me and you. I want to get 10 facts that will terrify me, or that you think I need to know to change the way I am right now, to get ready for how the real world is.
Ask some questions. What do you know? What kind of facts you want?
All right. In other words, I want what's going on in the real world. What's really going on? Who's really in control? What the real goal is? What our real goal is?
Pharmaceutical companies run this world. Your president
I know that.
Does not. Your president is a pawn. Government is, but government does work that for themselves as well. Like Nancy Pelosi's husband is a contractor. He's a billionaire, which makes her a billionaire. And how does he get those contracts? Because she works in government and she gets the governmental contracts for him.
Yep. And if he doesn't get those contracts and he doesn't make that money, her face doesn't stay as waxed as it is.
Right. She can't go to the salon and get her hair done as much as she can and order people around, right? So yeah, and why does she order them around? Because she has the control and power to do that, because that's who she is. And again, how many years has she been in office? How many years has Biden been in office? What, 47, 50 years? Why do we allow that? So
I have no idea. But you know why?
Because once they get in, they turn it around and they make the rules. We have no. And here's another fact that you should know: your participation. You have no participation. They want you to think you have participation, but before that, it was your participation ended at the voting booths. Once you voted for who you were voting for, you can jump up and down and scream all you want to. They don't care. They just want you to think you care, but they don't care.
I never see. I'm one of those people that never thought they cared in the first place. I agree with that. I don't.
Yeah, they don't. They don't care about us. They care about keeping us under their thumbs. That's all they care about.
So here's what I got to ask you. Most people would have let it slip, but I didn't. You compare yourself to Jesus. Now, I didn't say anything
really,
because
but,
wait, hold on. I didn't say anything because you actually have said that you hear the word of God.
I do.
All right, so that's why I didn't say anything, because there's definitely a little bit now more of a comparison.
Yeah.
Now, you hear the word of God.
Although I am like him, I cannot perform miracles, but I'm here to spread the word.
How do you know you're hearing the word of the God?
I've seen him 3 times. I see Jesus on a daily basis. I see archangels every single day. They talk to me. I hear them. Sometimes it's just thoughts in my own mind, but I actually hear them. And whenever they tell me things, it's always about doing good.
Now, all right. You've never told this to a doctor, right?
Yes, I have.
What was the doctor's reaction?
You're alluding to that they're going to look at me like I'm crazy and stuff
like
that.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. I have too many things that happen to me that other people witness on a frequent basis that are in my book, and there's no possible way that I could get this. There's no way. I was at a bar one time, wasn't drinking, just drinking a soda. It was a car show, and I went there and just hung out. and then the bartender who knows me, who knows I do these things, would ask me to stay later at night because in the dark I can see a lot more. Although I see them a lot more now in the light as well. But so she said, "Do you see anything now?" And I said, "Yeah, I see this guy here. I don't know who he is. I see his beard and he's got glasses, but he's got them on top of his head like this and keeps pointing to me to show me the glasses like that has some type of significance. I notice a lot of things." And I said, "He looks similar like me, but he's got a little bit more hair on top." She said, "Do you get a name?" I said, "I don't normally get, oh, yeah, I just got a name. His name is James." And she said, "Is he here for anybody?" I said, "Yeah, he's here for these two people down the end of the bar. Not so much this woman, but her husband." I didn't know they were husband and wife, but that's what I was told. Is that he said, "I'm here for her husband." And I said, "Okay." And then, so I told her that. And she said, "Should I go down and tell him something?" And I said, "Well, if you want to, go right ahead. If you don't want to, I can go down and do it. But, I don't do this all the time, but I will if something's necessary. But yeah, go ahead and say something." So she walks down and talks to them. And then the woman says, "Oh, you mean my friend Jim?" And I yell down, "Yeah, Jim, but his real name is James, and that's what he goes by." And I walked down and said, "Hello, my name's Daniel Jackson. I see dead people." When I say it like that, it breaks it up for them. And I start talking to him. I said, "Yeah, Jim is here." I said, "But he's not really here for you. He's here for your husband." And she's like, "How'd you know that was my husband?" I said, "Because Jim told me." And she said, "Okay." And I said, "Jim's here for you, sir, because he says that you're his son." And he's like, "What?" I said, "He said that you're his son, and he's trying to help you through your life." So as I'm saying that, when I said that, his wife starts bursting out in tears. He's flipping through his phone, and he said, I described what he looked like, and he said, "Is Jim in this picture?" And he shows me the phone. I said, "Yeah, it's the guy on the right-hand side." And he said, "Yeah, that's my friend Jim." And I said, "Yeah, well, he's here because, he's trying to help you. He says you're his son." And he said, "That's the crazy part." I said, "Why?" He said, "I've known Jim for like 25 years. And this guy was in his 30s. And he said, "Jim and I used to race cars together. He showed me everything I know about racing cars, and we did it together for the longest time. And every time that we were in a group of people, friends, he would always tell everybody that I'm his son." I said, "Okay." He said, "I'm not his son." He goes, "Jim's not my dad." I said, "Jim loves you so much, he thinks you are his son." So and then I explained to him how he could work that to help him make decisions in his life. As I'm doing that, his wife's just crying her eyes out. I turn around and I look, and there's 10 people standing there. They all have their mouths open. And they look at me, and I look at them, and I tell them the same thing. I can't make this crap up. How would I know this guy who I saw described was with this guy? How would I know his name is James? How would I know about the part about him calling him his son? How would I know that? I did not know this guy. I was just sitting at a freaking bar. How would I know that?
That is crazy. Yeah.
Right. But it
that-
happens. And when it happens like that, then people go, "I guess there is something to this." Yes, there is. Now, wake up, open your eyes, open your heart, and start asking questions, because that's what we need to do. Because if they are here trying to help us, and they're telling me about things that we should get away from, maybe we should start listening.
And what are they telling us?
Is we don't.
Well, what are they telling us, though?
They tell us that we need to get rid of government. They tell us that we need to get rid of the Bible, and we need to get rid of the cross. They tell us we need to get rid of religion. They tell us that we need to go back to a simpler way of lifestyle, that we could still have technology but not use it, that we should be charging everybody. They tell us to get rid of money. They tell us they tell us that we've lost the real sense of value in this world, which is us, because people think that cars and guitars and stuff like that have a true value in it. I mean, we base our value system on what? Rocks and paper. It's called gold and diamonds and money, but it doesn't actually have any worth. We put a worth on it, but it doesn't have any actually value until we put it into our hands. They tell us that we need to get rid of all this stuff, money, and we could start sharing each other. That's the real reason why Jesus told me he was actually here, to let everybody know that we could share everything in the world, because there's enough of everything in the world for every single person to have, and we can all share it together. And maybe you could be a doctor just to be a doctor, to heal people, and not just do it because you need a BMW. You could do these types of things where we could share everything. You could do something for me. Maybe you can cure an illness for me, and maybe I can sew some shirts for you instead. We could do that thing back and forth, and we wouldn't have to pay for it. You and I, and everybody in the world could have a Porsche. I could have a Porsche. You could have a Porsche. Everyone could have a Porsche if you wanted a Porsche, or maybe a Lamborghini. And then we could all put the doodads on that Porsche to make it look cool. Why do we get a Porsche now? Because we want to show how much we are better than someone else, or how much we are worth, a status symbol. But if we could all have one, and have the same thing on it, what would we realize at that point? That we're all equal, because we can all have the same things. You know what? We don't need that stuff. We are all equal. We
Yeah,
can
that's the
all
thing.
have the same things if we chose to do it, but we don't, because we have people in this world who want to have control and power over us, tell us how to live our lives the way they want us to live it, and give them money at the same time. We call that taxes and stuff like that.
So
Take it away. We don't.
life is built around human relationships, right? That's the one thing
Yeah.
we lost with church.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
It was a weekly gathering place, right?
Yeah, I don't
Now,
need to go to church to talk to God. I can talk to him anytime I want to. Why do I need you to tell me the idea of how I should talk to him?
but the
I
point
don't.
of church was to see other people from the neighborhood, and that's where a lot of information was passed back in
We
the
could
day.
gather in the park. We don't need church.
I'm just letting you know, back in the day,
Yeah,
around my neighborhood, Italian neighborhoods, like even if you didn't want to go to church, church was there to see everybody because there was no Facebook or nothing.
right.
Now, I see where people complaining about having their posts on Facebook and all this stuff
Taken down.
taken down and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And I'll be honest, I don't care about it. I'm not either way. Like in other words, it's for someone to say it's not fair that they don't let me post my life to Facebook and be in touch with my friends through Facebook. It's like, no, it's not. It's a website. If they don't want you on it, call your friends. Matter of fact, you should call your
You
friends
could.
instead of just messaging them anyways.
Right. Like I tell people all the time, don't pay respects to someone at their funeral, because you're too late. Go pay respects to them while they're alive. Talk to them.
Yeah, see, so I had my mom passed in December on the 26th, and
She's crossed over.
I did not have um, the right amount of people show up at the funeral. Let me put it that way.
In your eyes, correct.
They were people that should have been there that were not there, and it was
Right.
just very strange. It's been a very strange year without that. But
Your mom
uh,
doesn't care.
uh,
And when they go to heaven, they let go of all their pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, and anguish, and stuff like that. They don't. They want us to feel love and to take care of each other and stuff like that. But the hate and all that stuff, they have no time for it.
all
She's
right,
okay. She's perfectly fine where she's at. She crossed over into the light.
but
She's all right.
my mom said she was going to haunt, in her exact words,
She's not.
haunt the shit out of me.
They
Now,
do, but they're not. So they call that haunting because they want you to be scared. They're not haunting you. They're
no,
just
they're not haunting.
Yeah, they're just around us.
It's just my mom's way. So on my birthday,
Yeah.
on the 21st, right?
Good for your mom.
So here's how the morning starts off. My birthday, right? I come downstairs. I just had to move stuff in the bar. This is a bar area that I used to do all the podcasts out.
Cool.
And my big dumb dog. I have two dogs, but I have a big dumb one. He's young. He's a mastiff lab pit bull. He's like 120 something. He's a monster.
He's looking at you, going, "My big dumb owner."
Yeah, I call him Big Dumb Face. So he
Aw.
that's not his name. His name is Kobe Bull Bear, but I call him. He likes Big Dumb Face. He wags his tail. He brings me over a card. He's got a card in his mouth, right? I swear to God, in the morning, I haven't seen this. It's my mom's card from last year. Hadn't seen it. I didn't know where it was. Kobe had it. So I'm like, this sucks. Read it. You could tell she was sick. It was upsetting.
How
Day
did
goes,
he know to bring it to you?
dude. It was just weird. And then a couple of hours later,
Or was
something
it?
else happened, and it was like, oh no, another comment like that way of her like reminding me of her. Something happened.
Yes,
And
that's what's going on.
then another thing happened, and I'm losing my mind, and I'm explaining to my wife how this is absolutely ridiculous today. Like my mom sent me so many signs, and I wanted to stop because I'm on overload, She's freaking me out, right? So, you know when you get a text sometimes, the text pops up and you can just read, like, the bylines, the first 2 lines?
Yeah,
Alright,
and you get
so
it.
my wife turns the corner to go up the stairs as she leaves me. I get a text message on my phone, and it says, "Felicia, we have been trying to contact you." I went, "Oh, are you kidding?" Like, the minute my wife leaves, it says my mom's name, "Felicia, we've been trying to contact you."
So spirit, what they do is because they are pure energy, they can manipulate energy, and everything that's around us has energy in it, and they can do these things. Why? Because she's trying to get a message to you. She's trying to get you to go, not go, I'm weirded out, or this is freaky, or what's going on here. They're trying to get you to say, "What do you want, Mom?" Because that's what she's trying to talk to you.
Yeah, she
The,
wants
the reason
something.
why your mother is doing that is because we have something here that when you're here, you have uh, people say, "Oh, I have my guardian angel." No, you don't have angels with you. Most people don't have angels with you. I do, but I have them with me because I cross spirit over into the light and I do other things for God. This is what I do. I am the Word of God. And that's why I have our angels with me, protect me from negative energies. What you do have is you have spiritual guides who are here. But one of yours, unknowingly to you, is your mother. And she's trying to get a message to you, but you're not listening. So that's why she continues to bring you signs. Hopefully, she's hoping one day you'll wake up and she won't have to bring you signs for trying to get your attention. She'll just have a conversation with you in a different way. That's what she's trying to do. You keep getting freaked out by it. You keep going, "Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap." Stop with the holy crap and talk to your freaking mom.
Uh,
It's okay, Mike. She's still your mom.
yeah, no, no, I know. It's just,
Now
it's.
she's just a loving, pure white light mom. She's let go of all the pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt. She doesn't have any grudges. She's not mad at you for anything. What she wants to do is try to help you to get through your life the easiest way that you can so that when you return home this time, you'll have fulfilled your purpose and then you can stay home. Because you haven't, because your mom gets to stay home. You've been here, I'm asking, you're on life number 27. So as I just pulled off my glasses, I asked them. They told me a number. I said, "Did you say 27?" In my mind, they touched me across my face and said, "Yes." So you're on life number 27, meaning you've had 26 other sets of moms and dads. Your mom was your mom this time, but not the last time around. But you've had 26 other moms and dads, brothers and sisters, dogs and cats. 26 other astrological signs that mean absolutely dog crap because it means nothing because it has to do with your body and not your soul. Because how do we get astrological signs? Because a bunch of people stood out under the stars and said, "Hey, let's connect the dots." Oh, it's a fish. No,
But
it's
wait a minute.
nothing.
Why would I have 26 other lives?
Because you're here to learn lessons, but you're here to fulfill a purpose, and you haven't done it. You do it throughout your lifetimes, but they want us to do it a lot. And they understand that we can't because life gets in the way. So they will bring you back. They call it reincarnation. You're just coming back to try this over and over again. But you're here to learn lessons too. If I had a rag in my hand, if I picked it up and I put it down, that's a lesson. If I pick it up and drop it, what's the lesson to learn? It's not a good lesson or a bad lesson. I have to learn a lesson. So how do I learn that lesson? I grip that rag a little bit tighter so I don't drop it the next time. You walk through the doors and then there's a nail on the floor. You trip over the nail. How do you learn that lesson? I learned it by getting a hammer and I bang the nail in so I can walk through the door freely. What's that enable me to do? To walk through, to get through my life easier. And that's what they're trying to do, to get us to learn things easy enough so that we can get through them and move on to the next one quicker. But sometimes we don't. People trip over that nail 4 or 5 times, or they trip over it the rest of their lives. How do I know? I worked around those people. I worked in prison for 6 years. Those people haven't learned that they're not good criminals. Why? Because they keep ending up in prison for doing stupid stuff.
So I
That's
can't
what
be
we're here
too
to do.
bright then to be here 26 other times.
No, that's not too bad. You're actually pretty. That's 27 times total is pretty average. When I do readings for people, it's usually between 26 and 29 times. I did a reading for a woman like a year and a half ago, and she had been here 43 times. She's messing it up. She don't listen. And then she actually asked me, "Do I have time?" Because I told her, I said, "You still haven't done it." And she said, "Do I have time to fulfill my purpose?" I said, "No, you've run out of time." When I say run out of time, what's that sound like to you?
You run out of time is you're done. No more chances.
Yeah, meaning I said that the nice way. What I was
Yeah.
really saying is you're going to die. And she did 6 months later.
Jesus Christ.
But that's okay. She'll come back and try again.
All right.
Hopefully, she'll get it the next time.
I
I
don't.
mean, 43 times, that's a lot. That's 43 lifetimes. When you pass away, if you died before the age of 30 years old, you will come back 8 years later, so no one recognizes you. If you come back after 30 years old and you die, you'll come back 80 years later, again, so no one recognizes you. That's why I tell people don't mess with 23andMe and Ancestry.com, because the person you're looking for from 100 years ago to get a story about who looks similar to you was you, just a different version. Let it go, man. If
All
your
right.
previous life was so important, you would have fulfilled your purpose. You wouldn't be here now. But
Cut.
you know what you have in common with everyone else? You're here now because you went to heaven and you had to come back. So did the other 7.5 billion people. So what does that make them to you? Equal.
All right. I feel like I'm the first. I always feel like people said this to me before, and I don't feel like this. I've been here before. I don't know why. That's just my feeling. And then
Deja vu? You ever have that?
yeah,
That's
but
a memory.
well, it has to do with sports.
You may have
Mostly.
done it before.
Maybe,
Maybe it
or
wasn't in that building, but you held that space, or you had
what if
that.
I'm doing it right now? Just
We
not in
repeat.
this.
We do. We repeat things.
No, but I mean, why do I have to come back? Why can't I be? Why can't there be 26 of me right now?
Because what do you mean?
I know 26 universes, 26 different timelines. Like, why does
No,
it
your
have to be
soul
just
is
one of
only
me?
in one. And you're here to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose and live a human experience.
But it goes to a different body every time, and I never
Well,
know
sort
of
of. It
my
goes
other
into a different
bodies.
body, a new body that's being born, but you'll always come back into the same family circle every time. But that doesn't. But it does. But what I mean by different body as well, sometimes you come back as a man, sometimes you come back as a woman. I mean, if you were here 27 times as a man, you've only would have learned man experiences. You wouldn't have learned woman ones. So you have to come back and sometimes do it in that one.
But why do I have to learn all this stuff? In other
Because
words,
if life was meant to be easy, what would be the point of living? If you were given everything in your lifetime, you wouldn't appreciate the things that you do have. You're learning to appreciate things. You're learning to help people.
all right,
Because life is not meant to be just about you. It's about you helping other people. But if you
what
don't do that, that's why
I
you
want,
come back.
all right, I 100% agree. I believe that it's about helping people more than anything else. All right. However,
Yes.
I don't think that people should look forward to heaven or another plane. I think we should be happy with what we have right now, be
Well,
grateful for it,
absolutely.
and just leave it at that. But I
Right. Well,
don't.
that's why you don't remember heaven, because if you would remember heaven and what actually went on there, you wouldn't be able to function here. You're here to do specific things, but you're only here to do specific things in this body. Your body is only a vessel. It's your soul that is learning things. The soul doesn't feel any pain, but the body does. But the soul is learning how to deal with that pain. Just in the same way that in order to find out what you're going to do in this life, you got to be proactive. Or you could be one of those persons who just sits around with their thumb up their butt all day long and does nothing about it, because it's not good news or bad news. It's just news. It's just up to you to decide what you're going to do with that news. Some people are proactive, some people aren't. But the ones who don't learn lessons very well and they think this world is all about them, they stay on the alternative path. Now things will happen to them in their life, but they will keep coming back. Or you'll be that lady who comes back 43 times because you don't get it, because you don't understand. You don't try
So
to
how do
help
I
anybody.
change? What do I do?
You change by your choice. In the same way that, as you were talking about your friend Buddy who drinks all this big giant thing of alcohol. Let's say it this way. Say you and I were best friends and you were an alcoholic and I was your best buddy. And I would say, Mike, you know what? I'll take you away from drugs and alcohol. I'll keep you away from all that stuff. I'll keep you away from the bars, although who doesn't like a good strip club every now and then? But I'll take you
Oh,
away
I
from all
hate
that
them.
stuff. Oh,
I
really?
hate.
Yeah, me not so
I don't
much
like to be
either.
touched. I don't.
Yeah,
The smell.
yeah.
I'm being serious.
But
Ugh.
yeah, me too. But I'll keep you away from all that stuff. But until you choose to stop drinking, no matter what I say and do, isn't going to make a difference. Everything you do in your life is your choice, ultimately your choice, unless you're just one of those people who can't make choices for them. But hopefully other people are helping to make choices, good choices for them. But yeah, you're going to make choices for yourself. If you want to be a good person, if you want to stop calling people bad names, you can just do that. Just in the same way, if you have depression going on, you could do two things. You go to a doctor, and he's going to do two things for you. One, he's going to give you a bunch of pills to suppress it, which still means it's still in there, or you could face it. Or two, the doctor's going to talk you out of it. You know what you could do? Talk yourself out of it. Then you don't have to go to a doctor and pay him thousands of dollars of something you could do for yourself. But we can't do that for ourselves here right now because the world convinces us that we can't. They convince you that you don't have enough trust or enough faith in yourself to be anything good. They want you to think that you are lower than everything. They want you to think that you are sheep and cattle so that you have to come for them to heal you. But you could heal yourself by making change. I get people angry at me all the time. Do you know what I do? I don't care, man. I don't need to get angry at their anger. I just choose not to.
Yeah,
don't give them a reaction.
That's my problem. So I,
You're not getting angry at me, are you?
No, not at all. No,
you chose not to.
No. I'm not hearing anything to make me angry.
Right.
My
it makes
thing
sense.
is, yeah, it does. My thing is, I'm a big respect person. So if there's
Me
any
too.
sort of disrespect, kind of comes my way, I handle it sometimes a little too fired up.
Well, you're trying to correct it. Is what you're doing. Sometimes that just needs to be corrected. It's not wrong or right. It just needs to be corrected.
Oh, I've corrected some people.
I bet you have.
I have to.
You have a personality about you, but you have a strongness in your voice. You're just one of those people who doesn't take crap from anybody, and I get that. Good.
Gets me in a lot of trouble though. Over the last 2 years, lost a lot of friends.
Trouble. Yeah. Well, you know what? Were they really your friends?
Mm-mm.
No, because friends accept you for who you are.
Here's the biggest thing I've learned: friends are the ones that accept your faults.
Well,
never mind the good stuff you do.
It's not faults to them. You're just like them. That's all.
Well, no, they get it though. Like with me,
Right.
they're like, "Oh, that's Mike. That's just Mike," and they learn.
Yeah.
And they tell me when I do it, and then they confront me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate being confronted about an issue.
We're here to try to help each other to be better people. That's what we're here to do. We just don't all the time.
So then, you got me thinking. What am I supposed to be doing? Because I'm good at reaching masses. I'm good at running things. I started a band. We played for 12 years. Did 3 CDs. We're playing with really big bands on a nice tour. So I built the podcast thing. I did the basketball for the kids. I'll tell you, if there's one thing in my life that's always felt the best was always teaching the kids. Was when I would coach basketball and I would teach a kid who had no athletic ability to be able to feel like they're part of a team,
right.
And therefore have the just the confidence to stand on the court because they knew where to shift on defense just that alone.
Right.
And that's the best that I've ever felt, but I don't understand
how. And when you do those types of things, it does feel good, correct?
Without a doubt.
What? That's your soul telling you this is the right thing to do. It feels good. You get goosebumps about it. You know you're doing something good. That's what you're supposed to do. And what you're doing right there is you're doing what we call fulfilling your purpose. Your purpose is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer. You're going to fulfill your purpose by the doctor and lawyer or something like that. That's something you learn to do as a profession, or that's a skill for you. Your purpose is going to be fulfilled by doing one thing, by being human. If you have anybody who tells you, oh, my purpose is this and this and this and this, that's their ego. That's nothing to do with that's just them trying to look important in front of other people, or, you know. We know these people all the time that take 1,000 selfies and put it on Facebook. What that is, that's a self-esteem problem. Go get that fixed. But what you're here to do is your purpose, and your purpose is very simple. You ready? Here's the big thing. We're here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not just because you can, but because you should. That's all it is. It's that, and God made it that simple so that we can all do it. But we don't. We want to have some grandiose story. It's I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be Kim Kardashian. I'm going to do this. Or, no, that's all about their self-righteousness. That's about their ego. That doesn't work here. That doesn't work in spirituality.
There's 2 things. One, I stick with the name King Michael because I want it to offend people immediately. Because a lot of scholars they can't comprehend why I would use a rap name from the 80s. They don't understand it.
Do you know what you do? You get them to think. You get them to engage with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I have a Jeep outside. It's a Jeep Gladiator. You know what it says on the side? Lucifer. Do you know why?
No.
Because Lucifer's an angel with a bad rap. He's not the devil. He's not a demon. Nothing like that. He's just an angel because there's no such place as hell. There's no such place as purgatory. There's none of that stuff. I see into both of those realms, what we call heaven and earthbound. There may be somebody walking around with horns and a tail, but that's just because that's what he looks like where he comes from. That's all. But is there someone being tortured there? No. How do I prove that? Take a lighter and go like this. And does a big giant flame shoot up all the time unless it's broken? No. You know why? Because energy doesn't burn. That's why. I mean, I have a question for you. I
Good.
mean, did you have a good relationship with your mom and dad?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, and you walked around and you did lots of things with your dad, right? I mean, you did cool things, and and
Yeah.
your mom and dad didn't. You were on a good balance and stuff like that.
Yes.
While you were doing that in your life, did you constantly ask your mom and dad to prove to them that they were your mom and dad, or did you just know this is my mom and dad, and they've helped me throughout my life?
I just knew, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Everyone else out there in the world is asking God for him to prove to them that he's here. You know what? Let it go. He's your father. He created you. Let it go. Stop asking for proof
You know what?
because
And the thing
it's
is,
ridiculous.
I would even go the extra length in saying that it doesn't. No offense, it doesn't matter
Right.
as
It
long as
doesn't.
you're doing good.
Right.
Like
You
you can
have it
believe
correct.
whatever you want to believe in. You can
That's
believe
right.
that a guy named Joe built this whole world by
Right.
blowing it up like a balloon. It
Right.
doesn't matter if
Right.
you
His
just
real
do the
name's not
right
even
thing.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
God is a term. I mean, you're my age, so you get it. God is a term that you're going to get this real quick. God's a term that we use for all powerful. Back in the 70s, we called them Led Zeppelin because they were the gods of rock and roll.
Yep.
His name is not really God. It's just that's the name that we give him because it's recognizable at that. That's
What's
what you
the?
are. Your name is Mike this time, but you've had 26 other lifetimes. You've had 26 other names.
I
This
don't.
is just your name this time.
I don't. Dan, I have such a hard time with that. Like I don't remember. Like
You're not meant to
I
remember everything. If you
I've
could, you wouldn't
sat
be able
though
to
and
function.
but I've sat and thought about it, right? And like I've meditated before.
Good for you, man.
I see nothing. There's nothing behind me.
And you
I
don't need
really
to. You know why?
feel like I'm alone. Like this was the first time. I
You don't
really
need
feel
to.
that.
You don't need to concentrate on that because what you need to do is concentrate on your life here and now. Because though people who want to do past life regression and all that stuff, I tell them why bother? Because
Yeah,
if your previous lives were so important, you would have fulfilled your purpose and you wouldn't be here now. But you are here now. So what the important thing is to do is to get it right this time, so you can go home. Because once you get home, the thing about it is people want to know who am I going to see when I get back home. They think about their mom and dad and their friends and stuff like that. You don't just see the 200 or 300 people you met here. You know everybody. In other words, when you get back home and you stay there because you're going to be completely coherent of who you are, you're going to walk right up to, Eddie Van Halen and go, hey, man, how's it going? Because you know him already. Because you know the soul. The body is something different, but it's the soul that was within him. That's who you know. You just know everybody. When you get back there, you know who else you know? Me. Because we're brothers.
So
So we are that here too. And if we're brothers, let's get it right.
all right. So we are all brothers. Is that what
We're
we're
all
saying?
brothers and sisters. We are family. We come from the original family, the soul family. But we're here to learn things. We're here to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose. We're just not getting it right.
Let me ask you something. Do you think people were made differently, different colors, different shapes, different sizes, just to
learn.
test us?
To test us, to learn something from it.
Like not like one's right, one's wrong. It's
Right.
just that they're all different. Just so we can have some fights.
Right. Or maybe try to figure it out together.
Yeah, which would be great. Which would be
Which would
amazing.
be great. And that's what we're here to do. Because there's a term that says, God bless you. Well, yeah, he blessed you once. He put you here. He wants us to figure out the rest. We're just not doing a very good job of it.
Dan, I'm
We're
gonna
always
end
at
up.
war.
I'm gonna end it with this. Is odd enough. I was actually writing. I wrote one book with Ronald Murphy. It had to do with heaven and hell.
Good for you. No,
Writing a second one. Yeah, but for my character there would be. For the second one that I was writing is so there's this character that just comes down. I'll tell you the story because I'm just whatever. It comes down.
and hell, you're teaching them about hell, what not to do so they don't have to go to hell, correct?
Oh, in hell, yeah, you don't want to be there.
Right. So you taught them something.
Yeah.
Good
All right.
analogy.
So, but this book, something comes down and it tells everybody that it's the creator of all of them. They feel it. They glow in their chest. Every human being all over the world knows it. It's like an all truth, right?
You do.
And then it's the next day. because it's the fallout of no religion. Do the nuns go back to the monastery? What does the priest do? What are the different zealots of different religions do? Like it would be. It's such a great book. I'm writing it because it's there's
Maybe
so
they
many.
would go out and get a real job.
Well, here's the thing. Well, that's the thing. What would happen? Would there be? Do you think that if they ended religion all of a sudden, like someone said, "It's over, guys. I'm the one who did it. Don't worry about it." I think people would lose their minds. I don't think it
Oh,
would be
absolutely.
soothing
They
at
would
all.
lose their minds. I mean, if the internet turned off tomorrow, they would lose their minds. That's big enough to change people. What if the internet did go off tomorrow in the same way? What would you do next? You would figure out how to communicate with people like we used to do before. You know, we had a landline.
Yep.
We didn't have internet. We just talked to people. You talked to the people in your neighborhood. You sat amongst each other and talked to each other instead of sitting amongst each other and staring at your phone talking to each other.
Look, I could go on and on about social media, how it's ruined stuff. I'll tell you the biggest
Oh,
thing
it's
it
ruined
ruins.
us.
It should have. I always say this all the time. There should be no comments. Like you should not be allowed to comment on what someone else says. If
Well, you know
they
what it
say,
doesn't say? It
what's that?
says comment, but it never says only comment if you agree with me. It doesn't say good comment or a bad comment. But when you disagree with them, then people get angry at that.
It's just my point. I
Yeah.
don't see if someone says something. Why do I think that I should say to them, "Hey, by the way, that thing you wrote, I don't really agree with you." Like,
Yeah.
why? Oh, that's a waste of my time. That's a waste of my time. Why am I telling somebody else what they wrote that I don't agree with?
Right.
I've had a hard time with that, dude. And when that whole thing went down with the Trump election and with the virus, so for YouTube,
Planned.
allegedly, everything's alleged. It's a serious thing. Go get checked. All that stuff you want to hear. When all that went down, though, people changed. You saw people go racist. You saw people become so scared that they showed true colors like that.
Right. We segregated ourselves from ourselves.
And then some people liked it. Some people enjoy a contact delivery, the whole I don't leave the house for anything anymore. I don't have to go anywhere anymore. I don't have to do this. It's like, don't you want to?
They did a good job of changing us. They needed a new way in order to control us, and this was it. And it's working. I mean, I still go out of the house and still see people wearing a mask, even though our president, last week said, "Oh, COVID's over," but people still get it.
He also tried to introduce somebody that was dead.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that too.
He does a lot of things. That guy's he's gone.
Yeah, they were all. I mean, and then our vice president giggles.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she was saying on some interview that our buddies are North Korea. Our buddies are not. She kept saying that about North Korea. It's not North Korea. It's South Korea. You can't get that right, really.
So, but see, that was my problem. So during that time, I never affiliated with either side, and I wouldn't. And
Yeah, I still don't.
Same thing with the virus. Like I never was taking any sides.
No, I don't.
But that didn't mean that people didn't tell me my narrative.
Right.
People
They
would
still
yell at me and say, "Oh, you say that, and that means you vote for him, and that you believe in this, and that you're
If you
for that."
believe in him, then I don't believe in you anymore. We can't be friends anymore and stuff like that. I got to ask that? When did that change? I mean, that didn't change until the Obama era.
All right, I saw it change about 8 to 10 years ago because
Yeah.
I'm a YouTube guy. So I've been watching what's been going on the college campuses, and it was
since
getting
Obama.
worse and worse and worse. Like what they were saying, how they were identifying, and I'm just like, if I showed it to my wife, I remember a couple of years back, like 6 years back. She's like, whatever. I'm like, no, you don't understand. They're going to be the next generation up. So,
Oh yeah.
so they went so far left and so far right. They've now made people sitting in the middle go, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't really agree with either one of you far away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we also found out whatever color the president's going to be, they still don't get it right.
well, on top of that, here's the thing that I don't like. If you're a group and you strike at the government or you make a big stand, you always inevitably get whacked back by the government and the swinging
You're an
pendulum.
enemy of the state. Just like our president now recently said, if you're against him, anybody who's against him, you're automatically an enemy of the state.
Well, but I mean,
But are you?
no,
Or maybe
but I
you're
mean,
just standing up for yourself.
it was, man, it was just everything that they said or that they did. You had to be 100% on board, and anybody who's 100% on board with everything, is just not right. You can't be 100%. If you had 100 theories,
want
there's got to
that,
be
though.
one Dan that I don't like. It has
Yeah,
to.
they want that though, and they there was another guy who was trying to do the same thing. You've heard of him,
Um,
little
maybe I have.
mustache here.
Oh yeah,
Hitler.
yeah,
He
yeah,
did the
yeah.
same thing. We're repeating the same thing, except that we said we would never do that ever again, but now we're still doing it in our country. You know, I mean, we just had a celebration back in July for getting ourselves away, independence, getting ourselves away from a tyrannical government to only come here and start our own tyrannical government. What did we do?
I
Nothing.
don't. I don't know. I just know that that little guy with the mustache, one, was always on crank, and
He actually
two,
did a lot of speed.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
two, his
If you watch
speech.
him from the Olympics, when he did
Oh yeah,
went,
he's
went,
shaking.
went to the Olympics, he was shaking because
Yeah,
he was twerking. Yeah.
yeah, twerking.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but on top of that, he on top of doing speed, um, he actually ruined a complete mustache. Like a mustache that was used by Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, you can't have that anymore.
Michael Jordan had it for a little bit. They gave him a hard time. I don't know if you remember in Chicago, but like he ruined a whole, even the hairstyle. If you slick your hair hard with and you have black hair,
Right.
they'll call it the Hitler.
They love you. They won't let you do certain things, but you're allowed to do other things. Like he took away arms. He took away government. He took away all the ammunition and guns from everybody. And why was he trying to do that? So he could have complete control over them. Well, that's what they try to do here. But we can't let that happen. Why? Because they'll do the same thing. It'll just be under a different name at that point. It won't be Hitler. It'll be Biden or whoever's in
He
after that. You know.
he had tried and
Yeah.
failed. The
Yeah.
little guy,
They keep failing.
and then
What
he
they don't.
waited
They,
for he waited for the people to be like poor, and
yeah.
he went for their nationalism, and he said, "You're better than this. We're better than this.
Right.
As a people, we should be living better than this.
Doing this together.
Let's go get ours."
Let's
That's
work together.
kind of what he said to his group. You know what I mean? Which we have two people on stage that just go back and forth, and now it's become just jokes. They don't even follow the whole. There's no point for a moderator. What's the point? What was the point?
Right.
It's like stand up comedy. That's all it is.
Unless you're Kathy Griffith. You remember her? She said something about Trump and we need to.
No,
hang
she
him.
had the pitch. She took the Instagram picture of holding the wax Trump head, severed head that was bleeding.
Right. What did they do to her? Destroyed her.
Yeah, but they destroyed other people for something.
Yeah.
Sillier things too. Like
Yeah.
I
agree.
Like holding the head of a fake of a president, holding a fake head of a president looks severed. If they did that to Clinton, somebody would have got killed.
Oh, yeah.
They would have did that to Obama, somebody would have got killed twice.
Do you remember Sinead O'Connor?
Oh, of course
singer?
I do on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, when she ripped the Bible or whatever, she ripped in half.
No, she ripped
yeah.
the Pope.
Oh,
She
the
ripped
picture of the Pope in half.
And she said she ripped somebody else differently during the practice and lied to them.
Right.
No, when the real time came, she ripped up a picture of the Pope and said that. Now that was a message well intended, but delivered horrendously and at the wrong time. And that's how I feel like, and that's why I feel like every message that comes out, it gets washed over, because that Sinead thing was well, good intentions.
Look at my head. Do I have the Sinead haircut? Right.
What are we saying? We're Sinead O'Connor acolytes?
Yeah, we're followers. Yeah.
Now
Nothing compares to you.
Yeah, I like it better by Chris Cornell. See,
me too, man. That rocks, doesn't it?
Oh my God!
I know.
You could listen to it, not to get off track, but you could listen to just him and all the bands, all the solo crap, everything for hours. Like if I could sing like him, I wouldn't be on the show.
Right.
So all right, Dan, as we start to wrap things up, let's talk about your book. Give us a little bit of a plug, like where we can find it.
Sure.
Everything else you got going on.
The name of my book is, it's on the title. It says my name, Daniel Jackson, and you see a man standing there walking, a silhouette of him walking.
Is it right behind you?
What's that? Yeah.
Is that right?
It's walking into a bright white light, and here's the book right here, and it's called The New Beginning: My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. And this is a story, a chronological story of me and how everything happened to me and for me. And why do I say for me? Because they brought me things to give me information so I could give to other people. And they can find that book. But at the end of the book, there's a chapter 12 called The Basics, and these are channeled messages from my spirit guides, archangels. They're not men with wings. They don't have shields and a sword. They're not fighting a battle in heaven. And they give me these messages these are messages from God on what we need to do to try to become better people, try to help other people to become better people. And while we're trying to help them to be better people, we're helping ourselves at the same time. And this is us trying to get our lives, get our crap together so we can be a better place. So, and they can find it on Amazon. Just put it in, Daniel Jackson, A New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium, in the search bar. And it'll come up with this picture. You can buy the book. I sell it for $8. Why do I sell it for $8? I make $2 off of that. Amazon gets the rest.
Yes, they
I
do.
don't care. I'm trying to sell 1 million books. I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm trying to help 1 million people. That's what I'm trying to do. And then, but you could also get the ebook. It sells for about $6.49. And if you're going to do that, please do me a favor. If you read the book and you enjoy it, go put a review on there. So far, I've got 5-star reviews on there, and that that helps.
Oh, yeah,
so
it does.
you can find me on Amazon. You can also find me at my podcast called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, me, and we have everything supernatural, metaphysical.
How often is it on a week, Dan?
It's on once every 2 weeks. It comes out every other Monday. It comes out on the big ones, Spotify, Stitcher, Google. But you can also find it on YouTube. Just look up Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson.
I get
and I do videos with it. With every episode is a video as well.
I have
You can find that on YouTube.
I have a proposition for you, Dan.
What do you got?
So
I
what
like
we're doing
propositions.
is, on our website, we have Legit Paranormal, then we have Legit Sports, and
Yeah.
we're having other links of, like, in other words, it would be a link to your YouTube channel. See, because here's the issue people have. Like you said before, people think they're going to make money. I don't think
No.
that at all, so I don't operate like that.
Yeah,
But I know that others
yeah.
think like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I always say to them, it'll be a link of your YouTube channel on the site, and when they click it, it'll go to your YouTube channel. So if they watch you, they'll be watching you on your. I have to emphasize that with people.
Yeah, I do. That's the same thing. Where if they go to my website, it's called Beyond www.beyond-the-veil.com. They can see my show on there, but what they will also see is it says guest appearances, and they click on that, and that's me being on other shows. And so what that enables them to do is, one, they can come on and see me on someone else's show, but what it also does is give them another show to watch. 'Cause
So my thought
should-
was,
we should be helping each other.
like a show like yours, we could give it that extra hype when it comes out on that
Yep.
Monday night. Just like all the other shows of people that we've talked to, like, just to put their links on the same page so people have a page that's not like a paid for thing where they can just go browse people's YouTube.
Right.
Would be
Why do we-
awesome.
Why do we do that for each other? Because we can.
Yeah. But the thing is, why do we not do it? Because people
don't know.
think that someone has to be up to something.
Yes.
If they have a good idea that seems like
Yeah.
it's going to help people.
Yeah, I'm the best podcaster out there. She'd only be listening to me and not Daniel Jackson. Forget him, whatever, buddy.
It might be just me. It's just like I'm like, hey, well, you want to do something like that, and they're like, oh, well, I got to think about it. Say, what are you thinking about? Like, what's it to think about? Like, what did I ask you? You confused about?
Also, right here, not monetized.
Yeah, I don't. It's tough to do. Dan, before I go, I want to ask you one question. I never ask a medium any questions because I avoid it. But so I do. But here's what's been bugging me the last.
I got a question for you with something else.
All right. Here's what's been bugging me the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no 28. You won't be here. You're done. You're not coming back.
Yeah, I don't see how that's possible.
You finished it because this is what you do, Mike. You help people. You've been doing it so much throughout your life this entire time. You fulfilled your purpose. You have punched your dance card. They're going to tell you this time, next time you go back. All the other times they told you had to come back, but this time they're going to ask you if you want to go back. You're just going to tell them no. I want you to tell them no because I don't want you to have to come back, because the next time that you would have to come back after your passing would be 80 years later, and this place is not going to be nice. It's going to look like a Mad Max movie. Because that's where we're going, and that's happening soon.
Oh yeah, it is.
I knew about COVID 2.5 years prior to it coming because I got a channeled message, and I told people how to prepare and do all that stuff. At the time when it came, I already had 3 years worth of toilet paper, and so did all the people that I tell, except for the other people who didn't listen to me because they said they thought I was crazy. I said, I'm not crazy. You got to listen to me now. I'm not full of shit, man. I got
No, I don't,
answers.
I
I get
don't, I
answers.
don't, I don't see you as someone who's full of shit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help.
So I have in my head for some reason, right, that I'm supposed to be doing something. There's something. Everyone says
Uh,
that there's something
I'm not
big,
psychic.
but no, I keep thinking I got to do something big, and it bothers me. I have a feeling of I'm not accomplishing it.
Oh,
You know
you're
what I'm trying to say
fighting
to
it.
you?
You're
You
fighting
carry
it.
that around with you. You're like, I should be doing this, but what am I doing wrong? Is it not the effort? Am I just not putting the actual energy into it?
Yeah, you're
Or,
not following through with it. I don't know why you're fighting it so much. You know, man, that's the hardest thing for me. I don't know why you're doing this. You actually know that it'll work, but you're so afraid of it also not working. But there's no failures, there's no mistakes, there's no right and wrong. There's only what works for you and what doesn't work for
can you
you.
be afraid of it working and working too much, too well,
Yeah.
too good?
If you think it's going to take away, here's my thing. So, okay, again, 28, no 28, you're done. Okay, you've already completed that already. Let me ask you, 15 years ago in your life. So you've complete. So the rest of your life is up to you to do what you want to do now. You can do that. You could have done that from 15 years ago all the way up to now, and still not continue to help people. But you're going to do it anyway. It's just who you are. You're just a good person.
I try to hide that though.
We need more people like you. I know, because you're not doing it for accolades. You're doing it for the reason of just doing it, and that's what's good about you.
Yeah, and
So,
I like a comfort zone too
yeah,
from people, buffer.
if you feel as though that it's going to take away too much of your life to do this, that's okay. But if you really want to do it, if you think it's really going to make a difference, then go
Yeah.
ahead. You're able to either do it or not do it, but don't be afraid of it. Don't have any fear of it. I mean, in that sense of things, just think of all the places you might have gone or people you might have met without any fear in your life. Oh, I wanted to ask that girl out, but she won't go out with me. She might say no. Well, she might say no, but you know what? There's 7.5 billion of us out there. You'll find another one. So let go of the fear. Well, if I go on this vacation, I'm going to die. If I go on this vacation, I'm going to die. No, you're just going to die once. Let it go. Because if you die, it's just your time to go. There's two rules in this world. As long as you comprehend them and follow them, you'll pay
Yeah,
attention to your life and you'll appreciate life. And rule number one is people die every day. And rule number two is you can't change rule number one. So let it go, man.
I think no, I agree, and I think you have to react because when I met my wife at one of the shows, I had asked about her after the show, and I was told that I was not her type. Like I asked for her phone number from my friend, and him and his girlfriend just didn't think she was my type, but would not give me her phone number. And
No
I,
one else knows you like you do. Don't let them tell you that.
well,
My
here's the
wife
thing.
she was a registered nurse and I was a biker and I had this. I came to my date with a leather jacket on with a stitched print on the front and the back of a skeleton.
Yeah. So wait. So listen. So my response was now. So I usually would have just walked away and been on to the next girl. That's just kind of what I would have done. But for
Not this
some
time.
reason, I turned to him and I said, but buddy, I'm every girl's type. Give me your phone number. Like in other words, don't judge me on a girl you don't know yet.
Right.
I could be her
Right.
type. Give me a phone number.
Right.
And
People
little did
say
I
they
know,
can talk
she was
crap
saying
to
the
women,
same
but
thing.
you don't. You talk.
Yeah, I get accused of that though too. I do talk too much. I'm
Well,
too
yeah,
open.
but it got her, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it did. That actually did do it. It was
Here's
a
how you
long talk
listen.
we had.
Here's how you know when people don't pay attention. So when you get these feelings, these gut feelings that this is the right thing to do, that's your soul talking to you. And people get these messages all the time, but they talk themselves out of it because the world taught them to talk themselves out of it. So this is how you know when you're driving down the street in a car and you see a car in front of you and you say, "I'm going to pass this car," and you get that gut feeling that says, "Don't pass the car." Don't pass the car. Because you're going to try to get into something you're not meant to get into. And next thing you know, boom, you get into an accident. Now, here's how you know about people who don't listen to that. You're in the hospital later talking to them because they got into a car accident and they tell you three words how they didn't listen to their gut, which is actually their soul trying to talk to them, their spirit guides, your mom. They say, I saw that car in front of me, Mike, but then I just knew. When they say I just knew, that means their soul was trying to talk to them and they didn't pay attention to it. And then they used the free will too much about themselves and they did what they thought was, oh, I want to do this instead. I don't care what it's telling me to do. Stop
Well, it's
doing
not telling me not to do this, so I'm just going to go overboard. Basically,
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
that's the problem with people.
Free will and ego.
Yeah, No, no, no. Yeah, ego is something that's tremendous,
You
and
got taught that.
it's
You woke
hidden.
up in a baby body. You didn't have any ego, but you do now.
But it's hidden. A lot of people, their ego gets hurt, and they hide that for years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
something
well,
they
we
carry.
get taught a lot of feelings: pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that stuff. You didn't come into this world with it. You don't leave with it. If you go into that spirit realm and you cross over into that light, it gets washed away. But there are other spirits here in the earthbound spirit who hold on to that stuff. That's why they're here because they wanted to hold on to that stuff.
I always wonder, Daniel, how I could help. Uh, like I always think that. I think everybody thinks that. I think everybody at some point, hopefully, they actually say, what I actually do that would be of any help?" Because I'll be honest, they make it feel like there's not a damn thing I can do as a person that's
Yeah,
gonna help anybody.
yeah.
So I don't. I would love to, but it's like,
You
hmm,
got to let me.
yeah, I don't.
You're
I
not
don't know what's
forcing it
next.
on them. Yeah,
You know.
yeah. You're not saying I'm just going to help you. You're asking for permission, and that's absolutely what you should be doing.
Now you can't help somebody that doesn't want help.
Absolutely.
Because that's, I mean, I have my own mental issues where I have my own problems, but I actually will be thinking, man, I shouldn't be doing this, this is wrong, and then I still do it, and then I beat myself up later about it.
Yeah, you
So
talked yourself into it or
it's
something.
like
Yeah.
there's like a voice that will pop in my head sometimes that's just, man, it wants to do things. Like it's like no, 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 let's do this. Let's like I really have that old school with Tom and Jerry, devil and angel. You know what I mean?
Devil
Like
and Angel, yeah,
I
or
do. Like
like an Animal House. Yeah, I just watched that the
Yeah,
other
I
day.
get caught in spots
Yeah.
where I love when he breaks the guitar.
Yeah.
Some had a cherry.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene.
You give me a chicken. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
had no bones. Yeah, that was one of those movies that if you went to college around that time, if you didn't know all the words, man, they got pissed. People would be pissed in your dorm. They're like, "What do you mean you don't know all the words?" Like they
That
don't
that
know.
that movie ruined it for all of us young kids who thought, okay, every party I go to is going to be like a toga party. That's going to be cool, and
So,
it never is, you know.
all right, but here's the thing. So I have the. I'm glad we're talking about this right now. I'll wrap it up. I know you. This I have a
I'm all right.
bar down here. I call it bar. I call it's Italian. I call it bar fangul, which if you say it fast and you're Italian, and bar fangul means what it means. So it's bar fangul. Yeah, people come down, and
Mangia
dude,
Lagoon, Mangia Guts, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to throw parties. Like I want to throw theme parties. I want people to hang out.
right.
Everyone cancels. Everyone doesn't show up. Everyone. Dan, on my birthday, the night I asked invited people over. Out of 12 people, I had two people say they would still come that night, like an hour before, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm good." Like I felt
Yeah,
like I was just like, "I'm just gonna stay in," because I feel bad for the
yeah,
two people that have come over. Like
that's
they,
a bummer.
it just is in the sense that people they don't they don't understand sometimes what little things mean. Like I make
Yeah,
sure I call certain people on their birthdays,
yeah,
or
absolutely.
I have a buddy who's so I have a buddy. It's weird. So I have two best friends that I grew up with since kindergarten. Right. My dad is born on October 1st, and my buddy Dave is born October 1st, and then my other buddy Ray, his dad has the same birthday as me. It was just a weird thing, but so my buddy Ray lost his dad suddenly, before like in November. Then my mom passed, and then his mom passed. So I
Everybody
lost both
does.
parents in like
Yeah.
3 months.
Everybody does, and I tell everybody, no one dies suddenly, dies too soon, dies too young, or dies unexpectedly. Everyone just dies, but we associate a time and period with it.
Well, I mean, like he wasn't sick. Like they weren't like
Yeah.
expecting him to just stop breathing.
Oh well, you don't have to be sick to die. You could just die.
This is
Everybody
true.
does. When it's time for your soul to go home, it just will. You don't have a choice.
Don't you wish you knew? Don't you
I
wish they
do
would
know.
tell you?
I
You
do
do
know.
know?
Yeah,
You know how long?
I'm gonna be 83 when I die. I'm gonna die. My birthday's in November on the 18th, but I'm gonna die in August on the third week on a Wednesday night.
Really?
Yeah. I
Well,
just
how do you?
asked. I asked because I need to know how much time I have to do to get this message
All
put out
right.
there.
So, Dan, do I have at least 20 years?
Um, well, I will ask you this question, or I'll tell you this statement first. Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. But if you
Oh,
really want to know, I can tell
yeah.
you if you have.
I really do want to know.
Yeah, you have. More than 20 years.
You think so?
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
being touched on my face right now for yes.
See,
I get yes
that
and no answers. If I get a no, it feels like a tear running down my face. But when I get a yes, going across. But I'm not saying it's a lot of years past 20 years. If it was a lot of years past 20 years, I would get a real fast mark across my face. But that one was kind of a slow one.
I could if I passed at 70, I have no problem with that. My thing is, I like the idea of see my mom passed 72. No, my mom passed 79. My dad was 64. So
Yeah, it has nothing to do when you're going to pass.
my
People
grandmother
believe that.
passed at 72, which in the Bible was a date that she said that was a good date, good age to
No,
pass that for
not
something.
really. It's
I don't know
just
where she got that. I don't know.
yeah, it's just you're just meant to go. That's all. But
But like
I
to
mean,
know you have 20 years to work on stuff,
yeah, absolutely.
it's actually a great feeling. Well,
Yeah.
it's a helpful feeling, if anything.
It was
That helps
28
somebody.
years when I asked, but now it's 27. or now it's yeah, it's 27 in a month.
So does
I
it?
mean, what's a good number for you? Do you want an exact year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would love that.
73.
That's what I figured. That's kind of what I figured. Is that if that
That's a
makes
good
sense?
year though. I mean, you're still functionable. You're still able to get around and do what you want. It doesn't hurt to pee, anything like that. So you're not at that point where someone's got to wipe your butt all day
Let
long.
me ask you this: is it sudden? Because for some reason,
Oh,
I see it
everything's
as a
sudden. It just
no,
happens.
but I see it as a I don't see it like. Or in other words, my parents had cancer and it went on for like months.
Yeah,
Um,
well, death happens very suddenly. Dying does not.
yes, but for
We
some
have to
reason,
watch dying, and that's not easy to do.
in my head, I feel like that I'm going like this. I don't know why. It's like, like well,
Yeah,
maybe
it's
I'm
going to be one of
barbecuing.
one of those things you're here the next day, one day, and you're gone the next.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've always felt.
Yeah,
I've always felt like that. I've always felt like
yeah.
something's gonna happen,
And when
and
you say "I've always felt that way," that's your soul telling you, "Yes, this is what's going to happen, Michael." But the other thing about that is when you stand up out of your body, you'll be completely coherent. You are still you, and you will be. Except the soul that's inside of you now doesn't look like you. It looks like you the last time you were here. But when it leaves your body this time, it'll retain you, and you'll just. But you're going to get the perfect memories of your life, all your lifetime here, plus the other memories from all your 26 lifetimes, and you're going to know at that point when you're about to walk in that light that all people should know that they're about the possibility they might have to come back again. But you already know you're not coming back again because I know you're not.
so and I appreciate that. But my thing with I've always said to people about this was that, like, they're like, oh, you have different families, different times, and what this, that, the other. And I keep saying the idea of not seeing my kids in heaven
You'll be able to
would
see them
ruin it.
from
Would
heaven.
ruin it for me. Like if I didn't know it was them,
Yeah,
that's them. I wouldn't want to
you'll
be
be
there.
able to see them from heaven. You'll just, but it's just another place. You're just for you and them. It's like a glass wall. You're on one side of the glass wall and they're on the other. But here's the thing: that if they could actually see you through that glass wall, they would be banging on that glass wall to try to get your attention. They're just not meant to. But what would they be not doing if they were doing that? They wouldn't be living their lives like they're supposed to be doing. That's why we don't have. That's why not everybody is able to see what we call through the veil. Because you have to live your life here,
Yeah.
and you're meant to live that life here. That's why you're here in the first place. You're not meant to know what's going on over there because you're just not there. You're here.
I just want to
Concentrate
make
with
sure I
here.
know them. You know what I mean? I want to make
Oh,
sure
you'll
I
know
still
them.
know them when
Yeah.
I'm somewhere else. Because someone said to me, "Well, you won't know them. They're part of like it's like picture a thing of grapes." And I was like, "Look, if I don't know who they are, I don't want to go. Like
Oh no,
you're
you'll
missing
go.
my
You'll
point of
know.
me going. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?"
no, you'll know who they are. You'll watch them grow. You may even be around them at times. Like my mom and dad still comes around me. When my dad comes around me, I smell Stetson because that's what he wore. My mom and when my mom's around me, I smell roses because that's what she loved roses. But yeah, you'll know, and you may try to contact them as well. And you might try to get a hold of somebody like me to get them to
I'm
contact.
always talking to my mom. I'm
Yeah,
trying to like you have no
good
idea
because you
on a
should because
daily
she's still
thing.
your mom. Now she was your mom this time around, but she's also had many names, many lives as well. But she is the person who she was when she left here. So and so will you. You will be that same person. You're not going to forget who your kids are. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, see,
But
that
what
would
you
be
will gain back is all the memories from all your other lifetimes, meaning all your other children, maybe other wives, maybe other husbands as well.
see, isn't that crazy that I don't care about all that stuff? Like
Yeah, you don't need to.
I'm fine with I just want to know my kids, my wife, that's
Yeah,
it,
you
my
will.
mom, that's it.
You will. You
And
won't
I don't
forget
even
them.
need a heaven. I don't need pearly gates. I don't need anything like that. Like,
Oh, it's not like that.
I'm happy. I try to live it so that I'm gonna make sure I have as much fun right here, right now, within the rules of law and the rules of just common sense and good
If you think
decency.
this is fun, heaven's like 100,000 times better than you can ever imagine. Everybody's loving each other there. It's just unconditional love. There's no hate or anger. There's none of that. There's no segregation. None of that stuff. We all just you're just there. You just are. And what will happen to you is at that point when you get there, you'll go back to being like a feeling of what we would consider being 30 years old. It's when we're at our best, and that's what you're there because you are at your best.
If everyone was to get burned by the sun tomorrow magically, and all ended up
2000,
this all ended,
2047.
all ended up the same color because of it,
Right.
would that change? But I'm being
What we
serious.
do? We
Would
go
that
out and get
change? Would that
tans,
change
Mike.
anything? No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Everybody get darkened to a certain. We're all the same color now. You can't tell who's who, what's what
Right.
race is. Would that change anything? I just think it would be money again. We'd go back to who's got
Do
money
you
and
know
who doesn't.
what? We could look beyond the color and just accept everybody as equal.
Well, that's my point, though. Like,
Yeah.
even if they were all the same color, I think we still it'd be money, right? It'd be who has the money, who
Yeah,
doesn't.
money. Money's the root of all evil.
Mm.
Money, power, control, greed, religion. I'm telling you how to live. How I want you to live your life the way I want you to live it because you relinquished the power over to me a long time ago and turned me into a king. Let
Yeah.
it go, man. It's not important. Let that stuff go. No one's a king. No one should be ruling anyone. No one should have power and control over anyone. We should be working together, but we don't.
I agree with 100% of what you just said, except the part where no one should be a king. You can be a king if you've earned it through music uh, and
I
performances.
love Creed. When Creed was
did
out,
not like. I didn't like Creed at all. No,
What
no.
about
We were on tour with Godsmack and Stained. That's what we played.
what about Alter Bridge?
I liked All the Bridge. Yes.
Godsmack, the word of God.
No, I
I
had a hard time with
Get
him.
back.
Yeah, I had a hard time with him because he was he wouldn't let anybody back in the green room before shows because he was
Sully?
Wiccan. Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't that weird that when Sully came out a couple of years ago, how Motley Crue treated us bad, but now Sully treats people bad too. It's just their
Sully
perception.
treated people bad. I wanted to fist fight him. You guys don't understand. Back in the day, we're headlining in Providence. He's not even the headlining act. They kick us out of the green room because he's praying. Are you kidding me? Praying? I got to put my equipment back there, motherfucker. I got shit to do. You're not even headlining. Get out of the room. He's 5. No offense. He's like, I don't know how tall you are. He's like 5'2", 5'3".
Skinny little guy.
He's like a jockey. He looks like a lawn jockey. He should have been holding a lantern. I'm like,
He wants
get
what
out
he
of
wants
here.
when he wants it. That's all.
What a rough person. He was a wicked. And then, remember the Bloodhound Gang?
Yeah, I do.
They are the best people I've ever met. They were just fun guys. They
I
were
met
purely
Peter.
fun.
I met Peter Chris from Kiss.
Oh,
Total jerk.
Was he?
Total jerk. Yeah. Yeah, I met Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons back in the early '80s when Lick It Up came out and they were doing a signing, and I met them
Wow.
with Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent. I really talked to those guys, but they were okay. But Gene and Paul were actually kind of nice back then. But I met Peter Criss later on at a Peter Criss convention in Pennsylvania when I was still on the East Coast, and I walked out to the hallway to go to the bathroom, and I saw the promoter of the show there and Peter Criss's guy having an argument, and the guy was telling the promoter, "Well, you gave us half of our money, but Peter Criss wants he wants his other half, and if he doesn't get his other half, we're just going to walk." And the other guy said, "Really? How about this? How about I don't give it to you? Peter gets his butt down here because if he doesn't, I'm going to tell everybody in there where your limousine is parked."
Exactly.
And then I'm going to tell them what's going on, that Peter Criss is trying to screw everybody over.
Strong arm
So
us for
then
money.
Peter Criss finally came down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he was supposed to be down there much earlier. And then when he got down, he said, "I'm here for the fans." And I looked at my buddy who I was talking to earlier and said, "Yeah, that's a lie."
You know what? So I got to meet the weirdest people, like really a lot of fame. But my favorite was meeting Run DMC because growing up, that was like my idols. And that's the only time I've ever been not being able to talk to somebody. Like, I didn't know what to say to those guys that was going to mean anything important. So I just was like,
Sure.
I was like, yeah.
You think about it before you get there, but then when you get there, you're like,
And then cut to we're playing at the Strand. We were playing at the Strand the night before. We know the people that run the Strand. I'm up in the green room, and Marilyn Manson's playing that night,
Oh,
and
okay.
he's in his garb eating chicken, KFC.
Regular
Which,
guy.
if you can think about the way he looks with the nylons
Right.
and all the makeup, eating KFC, which is greasy to begin with,
Right.
it was just a
Regular guy.
hard moment for me to be around. I'm
Yeah.
like, what's he gonna say next? And he
Putting on a show.
goes, what are the best movie theaters in the area? And I'm like, well,
Regular
there's one
guy.
in Seekonk, one in Pearl. He goes, oh, yeah, because we want to catch. Oh, totally regular guy. He's like, yeah, we want to catch a movie, and then blah, 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 blah. And me and him had a conversation, and I totally forget who I'm talking to. Totally
Yes.
forget because he's just having a conversation. And then
Because
it's
you know
like,
why? He's just another guy like you are.
he's really smart, is what he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
afraid of being booed. People
Yeah.
are afraid of being booed. That's why Norm Macdonald's my favorite. I'm a stand-up comic. Like I live for stand-up comedy. And
He
Norm
was
Macdonald was
he
my
was
favorite.
so dry. Even other comics had a hard time getting his sense of humor. He was so dry, but
He didn't care if you laughed.
He was freaking brilliant.
Yes. He didn't care if you laughed. He stuck with what he was going to say and kept going. Like
I remember when he was on The View or one of those shows, and they were saying, "Oh well, this is the way you talk, and this is the way you act, and what woman would want to be with you?" And he looked at it right in the camera, looked at her, and said, "I have a lot of money.
I make a lot of money. Well, I make a lot of money."
Yes,
And the crowd all
and
cheers. I was like,
they just
oh.
went, nothing. What do you got? Yeah, because they know it's the real.
But
it's the truth.
He also on The View was the one that went like they asked him about the election. He was like, yeah, we should probably vote and get Clinton out of the White House. It's good to get a murderer out of the White House. And they're like, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, he's a murderer. You know that? And I mean, they must have told him to not say it, like warned him like 3 times. And at one point he's like, I thought it was just like public knowledge. Like I didn't know it. I love him. Like,
yes.
He would like
Truthful.
So when we did a show recently where we had people come up and do paranormal things. We're doing one again on October 27th, same place, just scary stories. I'd like to get paranormal presenters and put them in a stand-up type format where there's it's a bar and there's a crowd, because some fold and some tell great stories.
Yeah.
People aren't used to being there where people aren't going to 100% pay attention to you. They're used to conventions where it's quiet and everyone's looking at them and everything they say is gospel. It's tough to get people's attention. So I like putting them in front of those rooms. To me, that's where I have the most fun. But I also had a lot of fun because I got to host it. And I made a point of telling the worst jokes that I could to take the heat off whoever came after me. Like, I'm going to go up, make myself look like an idiot.
You're going to bomb.
So whatever, yeah, and I'm going to bomb, and I'm going to sit in the bomb and hold it, and you're going to see me enjoy it. I'll take it, set it up for the next person. And that's
kind of like what Bill Burr did when that guy bombed, and then he got everybody was booing him, so Bill Burr came out and talked real bad about the Eagles and all that stuff in Philadelphia.
Well, there's the thing. It was like he didn't say anything that's wrong, that was incorrect about any of his Philadelphia teams. Yeah. Like all those teams, the Eagles. My younger brother's an Eagle fan, and I hate the Eagles. I can't tell you how much I hate the Eagles. You know, you say don't waste your time with football. I waste hatred in my heart for a team that wears green. I really do. All right.
Yet my name is up on the screen in green.
Yeah, it's true. That's that's our.
I hate to point that out. I do that. Yeah. I notice things. I point things.
But
out.
that's more Mr. Yuck colored green for people our age. If you had a Mr. Yuck sticker on something, you knew not to drink it.
Yeah.
Dan,
Mr. Bungle.
Yeah. Anything else before we go?
If they want to book a reading with me, they can come and get a reading with me from www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. Also, if they feel as though they have an ability like mine, they're not sure where to go and what to do with it or how to go forward with it, they can book a call with me, which is absolutely free, and I will let them know if they actually have an ability, because I will be told at that moment. And if they're not, no big deal, and I'll let them know that they're not. But if they are, I will explain to them what they need to do next. But if they need a lot more information, then book a reading with me. Like I said, it's a reading with me in person. It's $120. Zoom call is $100, and be prepared to talk about stuff for about at least 2 to 3 hours, because again, it's not important how much money I'm making, but it is important for me to get the information that you need to get some peace of mind and some clarity too. So that's www.spiritmediumdaniel.com.
It's crazy. I'll make sure email me the link. I'll put it up on the website.
Yes, I'll send it to the email.
The Buddy one, not the one that I sent you, because if it goes to Buddy, he'll put it up. If it goes to me,
Okay, yeah, I'll
yep.
send it to. Buddy, I got to get my wife to go back on because it came through on Meta. I don't understand Meta. I got it.
Because I sent it through. I might have sent it through Facebook. I might have sent it because it was a Facebook post that I copied.
Yes. It's got to go to my regular email address, which is DMJ66.
That's why I don't usually do it. That's why that's not usually my job. That's why Buddy has to be in HR at 11:30 on Tuesday. We're going to discuss some things. We might dock him some pay.
Doing this right now.
Yeah, a bit boozing.
$1,000 bills, hopefully.
Yeah, a bit of boozing.
Yeah.
All right. So Dan, I appreciate it. I really appreciate the conversation. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from our conversation, so I trust in that.
Yes, that's where we go, right?
So I'm going to go into my wrap up right now. So for the missing Buddy Money Thayer, the missing Joey Parano Show. For Daniel Jackson, it's me, Mike Lipper King, Mike Gelt. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. We will see you again tomorrow night at 8:05 for Legit Paranormal Vacation Planner. Where are we going? What horrendous accident happened there? We don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. We are done.